and welcome to Tracy Mommy Reads. I am back again with another video. Today, I am going to be talking about the book A Monster Calls. A Monster Calls. And it is a novel by Patrick Ness, but it was inspired by an idea that he got from Siobhan Dowd. So this is actually a short story. I had been seeing this a lot of places, and a lot of people, it was like a must read. You gotta read this, you gotta read this. And I was thinking to myself, like, about monsters though? Like, I'm not really a fan. I think I've read maybe, because I've read a couple of Stephen King books before. Maybe in my lifetime, I can count on one hand how many books in the horror category I read. So I was thinking, I don't know, about this. And it's a short story. Like, is the monster killing people? Because, like, look at him, right? That's not what this story is about. It's I did a review the week before last about, life and death, and how the book, was a gut punch. The video for I See You've Called In Dead. When a Monster Calls, it was another one that got me a little verklempt, okay? Because what this book at its core is about grief and loss. Right? So the way that the book started off, though, because I will tell you this, I went in totally blind. I knew it was a short story, and I figured, I could get this done in a day or a few hours or whatever, which I did. But I didn't really read the blurb or anything. I just was like, okay, let's jump into it. So when the book starts off, there's a 13-year-old boy. He's in his house, and I think this takes place in England, right? He's at his home, and you don't know if he's dreaming. I mean, it sounds like he's having a nightmare, but then it seems like it's very real. Like, he sees shadows in his window, and it's very ominous, the way that the author is writing the story. And he looks outside and sees the trees forming into a big figure. And the monster, tree monster or whatever, starts calling his name. And, he wakes up or whatever. So that happens a few times, as well as some stories about how the monster came to be, and some fables and parables. And the little boy, his name is Connor. And then we learned something about Connor's mother, and it was just emotionally downhill from there, right? And I think what I got from it anyway, I mean, reading there's an interpretation. There's what the author meant, and then there's how the reader interprets it, right? So for me, what I got was that sometimes the monsters that we create are a reflection of maybe how we feel about ourselves, right? And our actions and our emotions, and we don't want to maybe accept accountability. We don't want to accept reality. So we create these things to deal with and cope with life and what's happening in our life. And I feel that's very much what was at play in this story with Connor, from everything to how he was responding to what was going on with his mother. From when he was living, he had to go stay with his grandmother for a little while, and the things he did there, he blamed on the monster. Things were happening at school, he blamed it on the monster. And it was really heart-wrenching how he got rid of the monster, right? That part really got me. And I will say, too, I made a note in here, and this is just kind of an aside, but Connor's mother, she was a single mother, and she was dealing with a lot. And his dad had left them, and, and I know it's always when you hear, stories about, people breaking up, and the narrative is that the person left. Especially because it's not always men leaving women. There have been instances where women leave men and they leave their children behind, right? But I always think to myself, regardless to what happened, okay, regardless to what happened, the children are always the collateral damage in a relationship that goes awry. They are always the collateral damage, and especially if they're young children. And I'm not saying that if you have children, no matter what, you should stay together, because no, they become collateral damage in a dysfunctional relationship as well. But I do feel wholeheartedly that in some way, shape, or form, no matter how you feel about the mother or the father, if you are the parent that doesn't have custody or that's not in the child's life, now, if you're like a danger to them, or if you're doing something abusive, or your behavior is not where it should be, then you probably do just need to step away and let them deal with the fallout. But if it's just that you and the mother or you and the father didn't get along, don't deny your child the benefit of having both parents in their life. Work through your shit. Just work through it and make sure. And for people who are able to just, like his dad left, they didn't really say what was going on. I have a feeling I know why he left. But they were in England. He went to America. Like, he came here. He came to the United States and had started a new whole family. Like, got married, and I think they were pregnant or they had a kid or something. And it's like you just disregard this little boy. He's essentially alone. I mean, he has his grandmother, but you're his parent. His dad just came in every now and then to visit him, and now he had to come back because, stuff that was going on. But, and Connor was very angry, as he should be, because it's like, I don't know. I feel like in those instances, if you're not going to be a regular part of this child's life, checking in daily, if you're like in a situation where you're overseas, at least allowing the child, holiday breaks, come, live with you or spend time with you, you must well just stay away, because all this dipping in once or twice every other year, that, to me, that's worse, because you're setting this kid up for these expectations and having this limited time with you. And so that was like, this is my side. It made me mad, because it's like everything this woman was going through, you just got to leave. You just left, because you didn't want to deal with it. And a lot of times, I'm sorry, but more often than not, it's usually men that can do that freely. They can just, just go on about their lives and their business, while most of the time women are, left to pick up the pieces and raise these children. A lot of people, I will tell you this, and then I'm going to get off of this. Child support is not a substitute for being there with your child or being in their life. Like I said, you may not be able to be physically in the home with them, but you can find a way to be in their life. Especially, this kid was 13. Like, come on now. Anyway, I'm off that. The story, it was, now this says 224 pages. So that's a lot longer than I thought it was. I thought it was shorter than that. Maybe because the chapters were so quick and I just sped through it. That is short, but that's like, not as short as some of the, I've read stories that were like 63 pages. This one is 224 pages, but so worth the read. I would highly recommend this one if you are going through something, if you've lost somebody recently, if you're having a hard time dealing with grief, it may exacerbate it in a way, but I feel like it would help you purge some things depending on your situation. Yeah, this one, it really hit home, especially for me as someone who lost their mother. But my mom died when I was like, 42. So I had her in my life for over 40 years. But, the pain of that, it never really goes away. So anyway, A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, inspired from an idea by Siobhan Dowd. Check this one out. If you have read A Monster Calls, I would love to know your thoughts in the comments. What did you think about it? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you like this video and go ahead and take the opportunity to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And be sure to share my content with anyone who you think may enjoy my reviews. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.